Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes of Fa'idah. Today we have a very special episode. We're in the library of the College of Al-Lugha Al-Arabiya, of the Arabic language and its sciences. Alhamdulillah, this is one of the older libraries in the university and one of the older libraries in the college itself. And in these 5 minutes, what we want to talk about briefly, bi'idhnillah azza wa jal, is the student of knowledge and the library. What is the responsibility of the student of knowledge? How do you benefit from the library? What are you supposed to do? What are the ins and outs of the library? Now, obviously, this is not going to be, done in 5 minutes. It's just too much knowledge, too many books, too many things to talk about. However, what we want to get into, bi'idhnillah azza wa jal, is the importance of the student of knowledge, understanding his environment, understanding his books, what books, how to read them, how to study them, and most importantly, how to research and familiarizing yourself and acquainting yourself with the library. Okay, so just like non-Islamic books or non-Arabic books, you have different topics. Okay, in the Islamic Sharia or the sciences of the Islamic Sharia are very rich, very rich. You have the sciences of the Quran al-Kareem, its recitation, its memorization, its modes of recitation, its tafsir, so on and so forth. The different manuscripts and the early copies, early canons of the Quran al-Kareem, the Musaf al-Sharif, let alone the different books of tafsir. You have books of tafsir that are, they say, bil ma'thur. Okay, here's a book, a piece of a book that fell on the floor. We have bil ma'thur, tafsir that's reported with chains of narration. The statements of the companions, the statements of the tabi'un and the atba' tabi'in, the disciples of the companions, and also some hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, and then we have different books of tafsir that are not necessarily bil ma'thur, but they may break things down from the aspect of the Arabic language, okay, or the fiqh of the ayat, and many other aspects and different subgenres of books of tafsir. And then we have, for example, the books of hadith. Okay, you have the kutub as-sunan, okay, or sihah, the masanid, musnad books, sahih books, sunan books, mustakhrajat, all of those different books that we've spoken about in our sessions on the compilation of the sunnah. What is a sunnah? What is a musnad? So on and so forth. You have books of takhrij, hadith reference. How do you find a hadith that you read in a book? In other words, I read a hadith in a book on fiqh. Where is the hadith collected at? Then we have, for example, books of al-jarh wa ta'dil, or ilm al-rijal, books of the narrators, the trustworthy narrators, the weak narrators, the liars, and those who are truthful, who are to be dependent upon in revelation or relation of the sunnah, okay, etc. We have gharib al-hadith, books that talk about the archaic words and the ancient vocabulary of some of the words of the hadith, so on and so forth. Then we have, let's say, books of history. Here we have Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya of Ibn Kathir. It's a pretty old book here, and it's one of the most classical books on Islamic history. The well-known book of Ibn Kathir rahimahullah called Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya. Alright, we have another copy of the book, for example. So there are books of history. How do you study Islamic history? What books to read, what books are dependent upon, what books are bad. Okay, so this is also from the students of knowledge training with regards to these different books. So you have history of the Prophet, seerah of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, seerah of the Khulafa al-Rashideen, seerah of some of the Khulafa who came after them, kings, Islamic dynasties, Islamic empire, so on and so forth. Here we have an atlas, mashallah. It's an atlas of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's a very, very gigantic book. Wow. Let's open it up, see what's inside. Huge. And that's very important for a student of knowledge, especially a student of hadith, because hadith and history are like white on rice. They go hand in hand. You have to know different places, different dates, different times, different eras, different tribes. We've run out of time for this episode. Inshallah, we'll continue this in the future. بإذن الله عز وجل. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.